This video is made possible through patron support. Thank you.
For these budget deck tech episodes, I follow a few rules. I'm building these decks for under $30 using Scryfall pricing. This cost excludes the Oathbreaker itself if it costs over $5, and this cost excludes basic lands. I assume you already own those. I build these decks using the 6x6 method, meaning 6 cards for 6 strategies to make the deck work. As I'm explaining the cards, I'll also be explaining how to pilot the deck and how to win with it. Entering the Sanctum today is Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients from Zendikar Rising. Nahiri is a core Lethomancer native to Zendikar. She's among the oldest of the current Planeswalkers, and was instrumental in originally imprisoning the Eldrazi on her home plane. Upon their first breakout, Sorin failed to uphold his bargain to come to her aid as promised. When Nahiri confronted him for failing his duties, he brushed her aside without a hint of remorse. This enraged Nahiri, and the ensuing fight ended with Sorin locking her within the Hell Vault with legions of demons for 6,000 years. When the Hell Vault was destroyed, she returned to Zendikar to find it devastated by Eldrazi. Swearing vengeance, she brought Emrakul to Innistrad to repay Sorin's misdeeds. Though that assault was thwarted, Nahiri and Sorin continued to clash over Sorin's original betrayal, even dueling each other on Ravnica and initially ignoring Nicol Bolas' war on all Planeswalkers. Nahiri was last seen on Zendikar attempting to restore the plane to its ancient glory, though failed from Jace and Niss's intervention, adding them to our list of Planeswalkers to exact revenge on. This deck is a great starter point for players both new to Magic and Oathbreaker. Aside from Nahiri herself, all cards used can be found in the Armed for Battle Commander Precon. Nahiri costs 2 red-white and enters with 4 loyalty, and has a slew of useful abilities that can all be used on the turn she gets cast. Her first ability creates a 1/1 white core warrior token, and then allows us to attach an equipment onto it for free. With the amount of equipment in this deck, continuously upticking her should result in a steady flow of armed creatures to attack with. Her -2 ability allows us to look at the top 6 cards of our library. We may reveal a warrior or equipment card from among them, put it into our hand, but the rest in the bottom of our library in a random order. Though this deck doesn't carry many warriors, we do run a lot of equipment, so if we're lacking, we can use this ability to dig for more weaponry. Her final ability allows us to exact revenge on our enemies, dealing damage to a planeswalker or creature equal to twice the number of equipment we control. Though her ultimate is somewhat lackluster compared to other planeswalkers, this one can be used on the turn she is played, and overall, her abilities are very utilitarian, making her less of a target than other Oathbreakers on the field. Her paired signature spell is also very utilitarian. Boros Charm costs a red and a white, and can do one of 3 things. Boros Charm can deal 4 damage to target player or planeswalker, permanents we control gain indestructible until end of turn, or target creature gains double strike until end of turn. It's planeswalker removal, board protection, and a combat trick all in one card. Though again, it's not necessarily a game-winning card, which keeps the playgroup's target off your back, and may earn you alliances if you target agreeable threats. Let's check out the deck starting with strategy number 1, Sharp Objects. Bone Splitter, Fire Shrieker, and Blackblade Reforged are our simple weapons, granting inflated damage from whoever's wielding it. Blackblade Reforged in particular is a strong opener since Nahiri can freely equip it to her token warriors. If we're playing her on curve, we'll be able to play her on turn 4, and then Blackblade Reforged will be given a +4/+4, and the longer the game goes on, the stronger we'll get as we play additional lands. Sword of Vengeance and Loxodon Warhammer give several more keywords and can get particularly scary if they get paired with other equipment for a full keyword buffet. Blazing Sunsteel is an equipment only found in this Commander Precon. It works very well in a multiplayer format with smaller life totals. The creature wielding it gets a +1 power for each opponent, so that will typically mean +3. The second bit of text makes things very interesting. It reads, whenever equipped creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. This can make a creature an incredibly effective blocker, returning any damage taken into any target, or on the offensive, it can make opponents think twice about setting up blockers. It only requires 2 mana cast, though its 4-cost equip is pricey, but with Nahiri, we get to ignore that. We can't depend on Nahiri all the time though, so let's check out strategy 2, the Wielders. Obviously we have Nahiri here for a +1 ability, but Brass Squire works just as well as a freebie equipper. One tap from this creature can attach an equipment to one of our creatures for no cost. Danitha, Capeshan Paragon is a good target for those equipments to attach to, with her set of keywords making her a powerful attacker and blocker, and even makes her equipment cheaper to cast. Odric, Lunarch Marshal shares any of our keywords to all creatures on our side of the field during each combat, making our fighting force extremely dangerous even if we only have 1 creature equipped. Tiana, Ship's Caretaker, has a particularly useful keyword Flying that would be great to share around with Odric. She also makes her equipment harder to get rid of. Instead of our cards going to the graveyard, we can get them back to our hand to recast. Wyleth Solasteel is the Precon Spotlight Commander and serves faithfully in this Oathbreaker deck as well. Natural Trample and card draw equal to the amount of equipment and auras attached make this card very valuable to this deck. Speaking on value, let's move into strategy 3, Get Gains. Orus Coast Explorer is here to gain us lands. Relic Seeker is here to gain us an equipment when it lands a hit, and Sunforger is here to fish out instants when we need them. All these tutorish cards are useful, but if a new player is using this deck, it may be good to explain good targets, pointing out the best equipment and best instants to utilize. SRAM, Senior Edificer, is useful to keep our hand full as we cast spells, and Ironclad Slayer can return an aura or equipment we lost to the graveyard back to our hand. Sigarda's Aid is our final gain, allowing us to drop our equipment at instant speed and freely attaching it. Having this on the field with open mana will make opponents think twice about sending attackers our way, and to make them sweat when we're on the offensive. We can turn up the heat and make opponents sweat even more though, so let's check out strategy 4, Turn for the Dramatic. Comet Storm can bust up the field and deliver punches wherever it's needed, granted we sink enough mana into it. Response Resurgence can either serve as a combat trick, or give us a second combat to land lethal hits. Master Warcraft can make a single combat deadly, either by giving ourselves a free path to victory and stopping blockers, or using it on an opponent's turn and forcing them to clash with our other opponents. Unquestioned Authority and Spirit Mantle perform essentially the same task. They give its imbued target protection from creatures, meaning it can no longer be blocked or be dealt damage by creatures, making it difficult to deal with during combat. Deflecting Palm is the final card in this strategy. If we can bait a big enough swing from an opponent, just 2 mana can take the pain and return it to the sender. That damage tempo can make the difference between a bitter defeat or a clever win. We want to be winning this in style though, so let's move into strategy 5, Dress to Impress. Ring of Thune, Ring of Vulcus, and Explorer Scope are cheap equipment. Best off played in the early game to reap rewards during the course of several turns, though in the late game, the Ring's keywords might be just what we need to hold the advantage. Swiftfoot Boots and Mask of Avastin are great accessories for our stronger creatures or creatures that are already holding equipment or auras. Given the creature hexproof makes our game plan shift into a more Voltron build, adding more and more effects and boosts to make a super creature super deadly. Haunted Cloak is our most keyword heavy bit of clothing, granting vigilance, trample, and haste. Getting it on the field means any creature we play can attack right away if we have the 1 mana to equip it, and still be ready to block for the round. Some threats we won't be able to deal with through combat though, so let's move into our final strategy, Instant Reaction. Abrade, Condemn, and Disenchant are all spells that can deal with problems on the table for relatively cheap costs. Though 1-for-1 removal isn't the best in multiplayer formats, hopefully we can make the smart decisions on what to target. Dawn Charm and Dualcaster Mage are more unique in form and function, with the Charm being able to save ourselves from opponents' moves, and Dualcaster Mage typically landing to copy an opponent's powerful spell and return fire. Boros Charm is our signature spell and final card in our lineup. This combat trick is out in the open for our opponents to see and fear. They'll have to be wary while Oathbreaker is on the field, and with its many uses, it should serve as both ample protection from enemies and a viable way to deal with threats. That's all the cards, so let's check out the final price. Individually, the cards that take up most of the budget are Sigarda's Aid, Wyleth, and Swiftfoot Boots, all due to their use in the Commander format. In total, our deck of individual cards adds up to $25 and a cent. However, since these cards are found in the Precon box, actual retail you can probably find it a little cheaper and much easier than purchasing singles. That's all for this episode. Let me know in the comments what cards you'd add in that aren't in the Precon. I can easily think of a bunch of equipment and warriors that would warrant some upgrades, but I want to hear from you. If you're not quite ready to planeswalk away, check out my Discord server where we talk and play Oathbreaker, links in the description, and check out my Patreon to get full access and other awesome benefits. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.